peer-to-peer and find creative ways to do all forms of business activity for affiliate marketing, creating rewards platforms that can be used as marketing engines to help inform and create awareness of what other contemporaries are doing that are complementary to what any of us might be doing as a purpose. And this really engenders an entire society of business that is just a complete contrast to what's been there historically. So what really excites me are the movements where people are making these efforts to go in that direction. So when you see things like crowdsourcing becoming a modality of funding a business rather than a venture capital or angel investment, you're seeing a community of people who are inspired to be part of something because they believe in it, rather than being a modality of having a finite set of individuals investing in something because they're looking for return on investment. So these are the kinds of things that excite me because they really change the modality of thinking of those that are out there creating intrinsic value in our society, rather than simply doing it to make a living in the conventional sense.
This is brilliant, and I hope that the idea expands and becomes pandemic. So it seems as if the idea of the nonprofit, which is one reason why Raw Spirit became a nonprofit, because it truly was not as interested in profit. In fact, we used to joke that our wish is not to be non-profitable, but that it would be wonderful if there were another name called Everybody Profits. Everybody wins, we're all in this together. And it seems that at last, this cooperative business, I hope that there can be perhaps even an IRS structure. Not that IRS is something that is pivotal in making these decisions. I was other than able to find a business besides nonprofit that fit into that desire that of sharing, of making it really a community venture.
Right, and it's really more in the modality of how someone conducts their business, because when they start dropping the barriers of competitiveness, cooperation is the natural product of a byproduct that comes out of that. So yes, there are platforms being constructed at the moment that are designed to encourage this modality to thrive. And I think you're going to see those starting to emerge in the coming months, a layer at a time, because we have to deprogram a lot of the population with respect to how this is going to work, because we're so programmed to understand a hierarchical competitive paradigm that we have to sort of reverse engineer our mindset and get to a point of trust and conscious understanding with each other, and not just expressed as, we all have the same kind of belief system, and we all have the same sort of mantra that we've chosen to follow by virtue of what it is that it resonates in our hearts, but rather really legitimately breaking down the barriers that exist between a lot of the companies and individuals that play key roles, so that there's a much broader sense of information exchange and a more finite and keen sense of role that each of us will participate in. And there are platforms out there now that are beginning to emerge that are designed to promote this. And it's kind of going to happen sort of organically, for lack of a better term, because it has to become a natural process. I mean, we can look back at indigenous cultures thousands of years ago that were untouched by external influence, and see these characteristics are laden within their entire societal structure, and it works. It worked there for a long time. So, the argument that, we have to have some governing body, such as a government or some sort of legislative body, is not really accurate. What is accurate, what we do have to have, is we have to remove the programming that has created the situation where those things have been necessary.
I think you have a really valid point. And as an international adventure anthropologist, having been adopted by a number of tribes and having lived almost half of my adult life internationally among very spiritually oriented people at Buddhist monasteries, at Hindu ashrams, for many years at orphanages and refugee camps, and among tribal people with tribal families. And I saw a mixed bag. However, what was really different for me, living with these various tribal peoples who are still living, is that at the ashrams, monasteries, and in the tribal families, the amount of ethics, the basic honesty, the lack of lying on a daily level, the lack of needing to boast, the lack of stealing. So what happened with me was returning back to America. I came from heaven on earth for many years, living with the most ethically rich. Maybe they weren't rich materially. However, they had and still have a splendid amount of wealth of friends and joy and sleeping well at night. And then returning to America, it seems at this point that the government is still required, because without it, with the level of crime and how do we say, that the lack of ethics that seems pervasive among some people, it's like a pandemic. Well, it's epidemic within this nation. So I feel that while these structures are in place, that people also would benefit greatly by looking closely at ethics, at utilizing disciplines, and really honing in any activity that is other than beneficial to humanity. And it really takes a deep meditation, perhaps 10-day or 6-month meditation retreats, or some great loss, some great transition. So that is the beauty of the transition happening now for some, being able to really look at what's important and what has been done, and how can we proceed in a loving way, in a generous way, in a way that includes the entire community. So I'd love to thank you for joining us, and I'm sure you have some delicious closing comments. If you would please share, and then let us know how can we get in touch with you, Michael. It's been such a pleasure, and it's been profoundly important what we've shared today. I look forward to more.
Sure, and the easiest way to find me on the web is through Earth and the Next Society. earthandthenextsociety.com, nextmusic.com. You can also find me on Facebook under Earth and the Next Society, and I'm there quite frequently. And a good deal of what we publish out there is information about all the things that we've been talking about here. And there's a lot of dialogue there, and we really welcome and encourage those that want to come out and discuss and participate, because, again, we're Earth and the Next Society, and so are you.
Beautiful. We love you. Peace be with you. May the bliss be with you always.
And with you as well.
Happy Oasis with Michael Shields.